I think it's, yes. All right, thanks. Oh, here, let me start off. Where do I go? There. This is sort of repeat. I don't know who had heard what or what people were doing. So I am. So there's a memorial, by the way, of Pope St. John Paul II, your feast day. So congratulations on that. So the definition of plagiarism is, well, in academic circles, we don't do that, right? It's using more than 3 words of somebody else's well-researched, well thought out academic publication, and we don't give credit. And that's what we want to avoid. Sometimes inadvertently, students will engage in plagiarism because they simply just don't know what to do, how to go about in citing and in referring to other scholarly work that other people have done. So I would like today to spend some time talking about scholarly articles. Let's go through and look at and examine a few scholarly articles, and then we can look at some tip sheets on how to do a book, a chaptered and edited book. You can cite your own textbooks. For instance, you and Jane in theology and English. Do you actually, for English, is there a textbook, or is it like articles and tip sheets and readings that your professor gives you?
In theology, he gave us a lot of readings to do.
Who is he?
Mr. Joseph Bergen. He's my teacher, the one
Awesome.
that teaches me theology.
Yes, he teaches you theology.
Yes.
Okay, so have you ever had to cite a chapter in an edited book or a website?
No.
Well, we'll have to look and see how we can do that. So the basics, these are the basics that you would use. There, you can cite, and you should cite personal communication, an email, a telephone interview, there a video. If you look at the news, if you look at a YouTube video, there are all ways that you can, according to the manual. There's an APA's, American Psychological Association. There's a manual, and the manual is so long and so complex that others have taken out and pulled out the main things that we use, and we call those little tip sheets or little guides. There's also in the chat here, I'm going to put it is a textbook Kelson had said. Kelson, which textbook were you talking about?
Oh, about the one that we read for theology.
Oh, you're in the theology course?
No, because I am taking business, but we do take theology.
That's what I asked you. Are you taking the theology course? Okay.
Yes,
well, here in I'll put in the online writing lab, right? The online writing lab at Purdue University. I'm typing something into the chat for you. Purdue is a well-known university in the United States, one of the top universities for
excuse me. Do we have to take notes?
Yes, you should. You should always take notes whenever you're taking a little you're engaging in any workshop or anything. I have my pencil and I have my yellow pad.
Okay.
I never am without something to write down. I write, we're different multiple able or differentially able learners, right? We have people that learn by hearing, people that learn by seeing, and people that to remember something, you write it down, whatever is important. For instance, you should take note of this OWL Purdue. The OWL is the acronym, the online writing lab, right? That you would use for looking up how to do an annotated bibliography, how to do a list of references, how to cite a website, how to cite, and remember, we're now at the APA 7th edition. So that's where things have evolved. Nowadays, many publications are digital. Many people are accessing because of the way the world has evolved, and especially in the last 18 months to 2 years, everything is pretty much how shall I put it, digital. Virtual learning, virtual pedagogy. I understand that some of you students are returning on November the 1st to face-to-face mode. Um, just be careful, of course, because we're still in the throes of a pandemic. But things evolve, things change. And so in the digital world, we have to be very, very, very careful. People are publishing now, going straight to publishing digitally rather than an actual hard copy book. In Belize, we had one of our former prime ministers. The first prime minister of Belize, we all knew who that was. The second prime minister, the Right Honorable Manuel Esquivel, retired senior statesman now. His wife, Cathy Esquivel, who has written several books. She's written several books and has published them in Kobola there at Benke or wherever. And then her latest book, which is the biography of her husband, and he's still very much alive, although he's in a wheelchair. He's getting a bit feeble now, but the book is part of his memoirs of his public service as prime minister, and of course interspersed with his own personal life. He and his wife had a few daughters and grandchildren and things like that. So she published it herself, self-publishing online, and you have to order it now from Amazon. So everything is going virtual, but we still have to give credit. We still have to we still have to learn how to cite websites and whatever it is. So the new changes have brought about that people have to, it's evolving. So we're now at the APA 7th edition. So the tip sheets that I will share with you this morning are taken from little guides for the the 7th edition. So a new share now, I'm going to go and call up, I need to find this, how to cite a scholarly article, because some of you said you're not so sure how to do that. So I think I'll have to minimize this. Just give me a minute. I'll just say stop sharing this and I'll go and open up, which is a repeat from last week, but because some of you are new, it behooves us to go through and see how to recognize a scholarly article. So I'll stop sharing this one and then go and do how to cite a scholarly article. So give me a minute there. I think I'll have to minimize this. Let's see. I should have, no. Exit full screen. Okay, hang on. Okay, let's see if I can do this now. I want to do share my screen with how to recognize a scholarly article. Here it is. Can you see the screen? And Jane, recognizing a scholarly article? Can you see what I'm sharing? It's a little tip sheet. I can't hear you. Are you seeing it, Hannah?
Yes, Miss.
You can
I
see,
can-
Kelson
I
is
can
seeing
see.
it. Okay, so we have to learn to distinguish scholarly work from non-scholarly work. You said that you read several articles. Not all articles are scholarly, and not all scholarly articles are peer-reviewed. Peer-reviewed means that they've gone to an editorial board of 4 or 5 readers with an editor who have screened, who have vetted the article. They've looked at it not only for content, but they've looked at it for format. They've looked at it for how it's contributing to an already ongoing academic discussion. For instance, in business. Okay, Hannah and, no, Anne Jane is majoring in theology. Hannah and Kelson, are you both in business?
Yes.
Okay, what are some issues in business these days? What do you talk about? What is something that is the new kid on the block, something that's cutting edge in business?
Well,
Some,
due to the COVID and business is slow.
okay. Yes, that's true. And we talk about what? How do we chain supply? Have you been reading about the glitch in supply chain these days in the chain supply, where what has happened with shipping and coming out of China in business, where for people to assemble phones or whatever, the chips are made in a country, maybe in Europe, and the case is made in another country in Asia, and the assembly line is in China. You know, the joke that everything is made in China, but not all the components are made in China. So that is one of the main things now in business is supply chain, and there's a you know a backlog in getting certain things done. Also, well, I did say shipping earlier in the month. I think it was early in October, maybe toward the end of September, they were talking about shipping in the people that are at the port in Belize had celebrated their World Day for shipping, and looking at remember, even throughout the pandemic, people have to eat. Food stuff and supplies have to be shipped from country to country. Shipping never stopped. So those are some of the main issues because of the pandemic, yes. But look at the bigger picture, Kelson. Think of globally what are some of the issues. And these issues will be written about in peer-reviewed journals, but how do we recognize them? See, a scholarly article is not something you're likely to find in a magazine. It would be, well, I don't, you're in the library there, Angie, and there may be a few scholarly articles in your library shelves there in your library stacks. But today, most scholarly articles are found online, and many of them, the recent ones, that maybe the ones that have published this year or 2020, you may be asked to pay to download them, but many of them are free in open access, what we call open access databases. And you can Google scholarly articles and business administration, scholarly articles and theology, scholarly articles and art appreciation, scholarly articles and Greco-Roman civilization, whatever your topic, your subject is that you are doing. Sorry. So we look at scholarly articles, and these are some of the hallmarks or criteria. Refers to the work of other scholars. See, and you look and you see, there are in-text citations. For instance, Anjane, what is an in-text citation? Can any of you tell me what is an in-text citation?
Could I?
Is that Ricardo?
Yes, ma'am.
Well,
An in-citation is when you quote another person's work in your work and you cite or reference in your bibliography within your actual work.
good point. Thank you for saying that. Whatever you use within the body of your, if you are writing, whatever you use within the body of your essay or your text, quote unquote, what you write must be in your list of references. Indeed. So whatever you look at these scholarly articles, and the full entry is in what we call the page of references. Now remember, some styles might call it a bibliography. MLA calls it a work cited, right? A work cited list. APA style calls it your list of references. Today, we're focusing on APA, but there are other styles that we acknowledge. But yes, indeed, whatever you use, whatever you read, and if it's a direct quotation, of course, you need to put quotation marks and a page number. I have seen where some students would use yes, they put in their quotation marks, but they have forgotten the page number. But so the first main hallmark or criterion is this It refers to the work of other scholars who have written about whatever. Maybe you're looking up this journal article on supply chain management and somebody has already written about it. Maybe back in 2010, looking at how things were then. And now fast forward to 2020, 2021, and the role that China plays. And you look at the role that countries in the southern cone, Mercosur, meaning Argentina, Brazil, Peru, Chile, those countries in the south. Or you talk about other Pacific Rim countries such as Singapore, Malaysia, Taiwan, Hong Kong, of course. So you look at the ongoing academic conversation referring to what precedents, what work has been done before. So that's that in-text citation and the bibliographical list of either work cited or references. The APA's format does not use endnotes or footnotes. Sorry, I had to mute this so I could clear my throat. So also you'll find the author and author's credentials. So in a few minutes, I'm going to be calling up some articles and we're going to workshop them and we're going to look for these. So take your notes. We're going to look for the author's name, the author or co-authors. The main author will be the principal author, will be the first name that is there. Usually it might be a professor, and maybe the professor might co-author along with other professors or with other graduate students. In some universities, in order for grad students to even get their degree, they have to have published. You have to publish an article first, and they will usually, their professors or mentors will work them into it. And the first article will be co-written along with their professor. That's to sort of like show them the ropes and ease them into it. That's why we have mentoring. That's what it means, is your mentor is your guide and shows you the way going forward. So it names the author and describes the author's credentials. So and so, Dr. Jaime Awe, Northern Arizona University, and what he does. There'll be notes, there'll be references. It deals with a serious issue. A serious issue. It's not going to be trivial. It's not going to be the latest hot fall color. It's not going to be about, rap music, although those are there could be scholarly articles on rap music, but what I'm saying is that is usually looking at it in depth, a serious issue, and the language is formal language. Okay, each discipline has jargon. For instance, within theology there, Anne Jane, can you give me a word or a term that is peculiar to or special just for theology? Anne?
A word.
Sorry? Yes, you read about.
Yes. And I would say the CCC, which means the Catholic Church Catechism.
That's exactly what I thought you were going to say, the catechism. Absolutely. Is Ricardo still there? Did he move away? What field is Ricardo in? He's moved away. Ricardo, what is your major? This is an interactive workshop.
Sorry. I'm in business. I'm business.
Okay. In addition to supply chain management or marketing or what other terms are special to business? What academic or technical language would we use for informed readers in the business field? Credit, debit, banking.
There's a lot. There's polk, planning, leading, organizing, controlling. In the terms of management, in the context
yes, and accounting within business as a whole. Look at the big picture of business. What are some words that are really special for business? Supply and demand, credit, speak of the futures, you want to source something, you want to profit and loss, those sort of things. And so these terms would be in journals that are not really glossy magazines, that don't have a whole lot of colorful pictures and advertisements. So we've talked a little bit about some of the credentials or some of the hallmarks, and features of scholarly work. Well, let's look at a few. So I'm going to stop sharing this. Allow me, I'm going to call up, I have a few articles for us to look at today. Let me just find it. Give me a minute here. All right, so I'm going to close off this one. Okay, let's see if I can do this now. Okay, can you see my screen? Read what's on my screen for me, please, Ricardo. Can you see the title?
Yes, I can see the title. Art appreciation as a learned competence, a museum-based qualitative study of adult art specialists and art non-specialist visitors.
Thank you. This is a scholarly article on art appreciation. Show
Who
of
would I be
hands.
reading?
Beg your pardon? Sorry, what were you saying? Ricardo? You still there?
Nothing. I didn't. Yeah, I'm here. Can
Okay.
you guys hear me okay?
Not really, but anyway, how many of you are doing art appreciation? You're doing art appreciation courses at John Paul? Okay, who teaches art appreciation? Miss Anna? Miss Anna Brotherson, you've got Miss Anna. Okay, so see, this is a scholarly article. I Googled in exactly scholarly articles and art appreciation, and this is what came up. So for us to help to realize how we're going to workshop and come up, I'd like you to help us. If you got something to write on, and you can, and then we can ask you to share, we can find a way to do this. Is Justin still with us?
Yes, Mom.
Justin, is there a way? I know there is a way, but I've forgotten. I would like to talk about and explain this scholarly article, but there is a way we can call up a whiteboard, and then I'd like to have the few students who are here workshop how to do a reference for this article.
Sure. At the bottom, where you see right now.
Annotate, where it says annotate? No. It's actually, oh, I've lost it. Ricardo is saying he thinks that
Okay, under share screen, I'm showing you the whiteboard. Just
on the share screen.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not quite ready yet, but it's
okay.
Okay, on share screen. Oh yes, there's a whiteboard up there.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so let me minimize that. I want to go back to my article. Where's my article? Here. All right, so now Couple things. We're going to have to look for the title, authors, first of all, sorry, authors, year, author year, title of the article, title of the actual journal, volume number, issue number, page range, and then we have the DOI number, digital object identifier. Remember, we were talking about everything is mostly online these days, or a URL. Okay, those are the things we're going to need. So let's look at this. Where do we look for the author, first of all? Who is the author of this article? Can you see it? Okay, Kelson, who is the author?
I guess it's Rejka Brakun.
Somebody Sova, right? We assume that the Sova is the last name. Look, there's a little superscript, a little number 1. So let's look down at the 1. What does the 1 say? The 1 tells us this is somebody, article is in Slovenia, a university in Slovenia. So she's an educator in culture and the curator of a museum. And that's her Gmail there, address. So that's the author's ethos. And if we scroll down all the way, if we're going to go all the way, I'm going to go back up to the top. But at the very, very end, when we're looking, we're talking about the author's ethos. At the very, 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 very end here, I'm getting there. Gosh, it's a long article. References. And then at the very bottom, biographical note. That little blurb, sometimes it's at the top. That little blurb tells us the author's credentials. Such and such a person has received a BA in art history at the University of Ljubljana. I looked it up how to pronounce it. It's in Slovenia. It's the capital city of Slovenia, the Faculty of Arts. And she has an MA in museum and gallery management. So she's a curator of a museum in addition to being a professor. And she has from the City University in London. And then she also has a PhD in teacher education. So she's got her 3, she's jumped through the hoop. She's got her 3 academic credentials there. So she's Dr. Sova. And she's an independent educator in culture. She teaches art history at the Third Age University and researches museum education, particularly education in art museums, and visual art didactics. Didactics is teaching, pedagogy, right? You didact something, you bring it out. You write about it and you figure it out. She co-developed a study program in museum education at this university in the capital city of Slovenia, which is hard to pronounce, at the Faculty of Education. As an external collaborator of the faculty, she's involved in the carrying out of some study subjects in the fields of museum education, history of art, and aesthetic education. So we have all of that. We know this is a scholarly article because we get the credentials, we get the author, and we get the author's credentials. So now, let me go back up to the top. I'll stop sharing a second just so I can get to the top of this article. Sorry, what did I do? I shouldn't have. I need to get back up to the top, but I don't see where's the little sidebar to help me to get back up to the top. Oh, no, that's not working. Hang on. Okay, I need to get to the top. There it is. See? All right. Sometimes at first you don't succeed, try again. Here we are. We're back up to the top of the article. Now that we've got the name of the author, what's the title of? Oh, what year? What year was it published?
2015.
Yes, so it's fairly current. It's fairly new. Anything that is within the 10 years, 7 years, 5 years, mind you, even as we speak, things are evolving. For instance, in supply chain management, in business, things will be changing more quickly, I would imagine, because the world is shifting all the time. But this is fairly, if you were asked to do a paper, an art appreciation for your course with Miss Anna, this would be doable. You could use this one. It's still fairly current. It gives a perspective of art specialists and non-specialist visitors at a museum, right? The interest and so on. So sometimes you may have to use an older study going back 20 years or 30 years, what is called a seminal study, something that is a point of departure and is very, very important to what you are doing. But mostly you want to use scholarly articles that are not more than 10 years old. So it's got a title and it's got a subtitle. Now, when we're going to capitalize in, and we're going to do this, even though we see all the art appreciation, capital L learned, capital L competence, capital A museum, capital Q qualitative study, whatever, even though the main words here are all in capital letters, when we reformat in APA, we will only capitalize 2 words. Which 2, Kelsin? Which 2 letters will we use as capital and all the rest will be in lowercase? Because we then have to reformat it into APA. And I will show you how to do that. So we're going to workshop this one. Do you remember?
I guess the first word of
The
the
what?
topic and the other
We will capitalize which ones?
the first word of the topic,
Art. We would capitalize art. And which other word would be capitalized?
and I guess the author's name.
The exactly. After the colon, we capitalize the first word and the first word of what is called the subtitle. Indeed. So we already have the author, the year, the title. Do we have a volume number? And Jane, can you spot the volume number? Where do we look for the volume number?
I don't know none of this, but I think that the volume number is number 5.
Thank you. And what number, issue number is it?
4.
Oh, you say you've done APA before? And
No,
you're saying you don't know this?
you know, I haven't done none of this.
Have you done MLA?
MLA, only once in high school we did that.
Well,
And
you
I
know,
think, and I still don't remember much about
okay,
it.
well, okay, but at least you're learning it now. So take notes. Well, let's quickly then look at let's look at the sections. Oh, this first part here is the abstract. See, and then under the abstract we have the keywords. So in the abstract, my cursor is giving trouble. Let me see if I can. I don't think this is gonna go. I want to go back up. It doesn't allow me. Only lets me scroll down. It doesn't allow me to scroll back, which is annoying because I usually like to go back and forth on an article. So the art appreciation, adult museum visitors, art specialists, these are some of the keywords. Now, when you're looking up an article, you have to do a paper for Miss Anna on art appreciation, and she wants you to look at, you're looking at art appreciation. Is this article dealing with it? Yes, because you can look at the keywords and you can select this article. Oh, we didn't look at the page range, but it goes from page 141. Where are all the pages and it's, here we go, see? And we didn't get the name of the journal, CEPS journal. And what does that mean? We'd have to look it up. CEPS journal, volume 5, number 4, issue number 4, the page range. So this, we want to come back to this to see if we can workshop framework for understanding art appreciation. Now let's look. Let's see if she has any index citations. Yes, she does. Look. Bordeaux and Darble, 1969, 1991, page 109. See, she's got index citations. She has another one in the paragraph here. The approach to art appreciation adopted for this paper is that presented by Olson. She is not reinventing the wheel. She is borrowing somebody's approach, somebody by the name of Olson, from 1998. See, she's going back to a seminal study that long ago. And note that the first time you mention an author in your essay, you've got to give the year. Now, this is an alternative. Some people would just put the year and then put the page 66 at the very end after the direct quote. See that sentence? The approach to art appreciation adopted for this paper is that presented by Olson, who sees it as, and then she uses his exact words, not untrained perception, but the outcome of a long process of initiation and practice, and close quotes. Now, many people would put the page 66 in brackets, in parentheses, after the close quote. Then open your parenthesis, put in the page 66, close the parenthesis, and then put your final stop. That's an alternate way. But you really must, whenever you quote an author, in every new paragraph. So later on in this article, if she refers to Olson, she's got to mention Olson's and give the year again. Let's keep looking. See, she's got something here from Hooper and Greenhill. She's got all these other people here. This long European sounding name, Anne Robinson, 1990. And note the use of the ampersand. Now, here, for instance, she's got a couple sources. So she's got Hooper Greenhill, and Missouri, 2001. And then she uses the semicolon. I spoke about this last week in between to show that this is another source. So apparently this Hooper Greenhill is very prolific, has written several things. So here you have Hooper Greenhill along with somebody by the name of Missouri. And then you've got Hooper Greenhill et al., which probably means that there's several authors. And you have somebody else here. Again, you got La Chapelle, 2007, and La Chapelle with other authors in 2009. So these people write, they're prolific writers. They write more than one. So she's got her embedded literature review in the article with all of these index citations. So it's, what type of methodology was it? See, she looked at the methodology and it was qualitative. She was telling us. So qualitative is lots of description. Quantitative, quantities, numbers. So when you see numbers, percentages, statistics, that's quantitative. So this is qualitative, lots of description. She's describing how the display is arranged chronologically. And she says the qualitative approach was taken employing a combination of research methods. So she's describing her research methods, in-depth interviews with art specialists and non-art specialist visitors to the museum. So some people went to the museum who are specialized in art, and then ordinary tourists, ordinary people go to the museum just because it's a thing to do or just because they like to look at art. And so she looks at the think aloud technique, which is some of what we are doing today when we're thinking aloud. We're looking at something and we think aloud. It's a technique that you look at something and you say, well, look at that. I wonder if that's the top, if that's the bottom. Those colors clash. Look at the way she uses those lines, the perspective, da 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 da. And it's a think aloud protocol. And field notes, see? Participant observation, field notes, those were all her methods. So we know that this is scholarly work. And then see the results. The next section is results. Differences, she's using a comparison contrast in art appreciation between art specialists and art non-specialists. So we're definitely getting that very clearly, that it's a contrast between those who are specialized and those who are non-specialized. And then she's got reflective practice in there. You know, and all the way to the bottom, then we got, and then we had the page range there. Let's see, it goes all the way down to her list. There's the conclusion that she, and then her own set of references, see? And all of her references there. So there we go. And her biographical note on page 157. So we have the page range. So we have the page range. So now, stop share again. Exit full screen. I want to go back up to the top here. Okay, share screen. Okay, there's the whiteboard. Oh, maybe before we do that, hang on. I think before we do that, there is something else. Got the whiteboard there. Um, okay, before we actually try to make an attempt to see if we can workshop that article, let's look at this 7th edition tip sheet and how to do. This one gives us how to do a journal article, Jane. It gives us how to do a book. It gives us how to do 4 things. A chapter in an edited book, and I believe it gives us how to do a website. Perhaps not. But let's look and see. This one is color coded. This is fairly easy to follow. So this is how to do that referee journal article, and we're going to try to workshop the one on art appreciation. So let me see if I can go any bigger. Can you see that now? Does that help? I've enlarged Kelson. It tells us what to do with the authors. So it's color coded. So how do we start off the entrance and a page of references, a list of references? This is what we do. See? Can you read for us, please, Kelson, what to do about the names? It's in the little pull-out box. See the little blurb there in invert names?
Invert names so that the last name comes first, followed by a comma and initial. Leave a space between initials, retain the order of author's name.
Why is it so important to retain the order of authors' names? And what does that mean? When you have co-authors, when you have 2 or 3 authors, in the case with the girl that we're looking at, there was only one author, single author. So we're not too, too challenged with that one there. But when we do have 2 authors, what do? You can't change them around. I've seen students where they would say, but you're supposed to put them in alphabetical order, and then they will go and change the alphabetical order of the authors. We really can't do that because the first author is the principal author and the main author, and then the second author would be the co-author. So you've got to put the author's name, surname, of course. And remember that if you have 4 or 5 or 20, how many you have there in alphabetical order by the initial of the surname of the principal author. Then you're followed by a comma, their initials of their Christian names by a comma, followed by a comma. Then we have this little and symbol, the ampersand, and then the second author. So then, Ricardo, tell us what we do about the year.
We place the year in parentheses and end it with a period.
That's right. And then for the article we were looking at a while ago, what year did we say it was?
2015.
2015. So that will be in parentheses and a period. So far, so good. The title of the article. Now, remember what we said about which words we would capitalize, right? Let me move this over here. All right. So capitalize only the first letter of the first word. For a 2-part title, capitalize the first word of the second part of the title. Also capitalize proper nouns. It says, do not italicize. Do not put the title of the article in italics. You save the italics for something else. And then you end with the period. So far, so good. We know that even though the original will show that the title of the article is all capitals for all the words, first letter of all the main words, when you reorganize it and reformat that for your APA citation, you're only going to capitalize the first word and the first word of the second part, which is the subtitle. Now the name of the periodical. Periodical, what do we mean, Anne Jane, by periodical?
It
What does
says capitalize all major words in the periodical name followed with a common italicized the
what is it?
periodical
Italicize. Italicize.
italicize the periodical name, but not the comma after.
Not the comma. Comma. Coma is you're in a coma when you're intubated in the hospital. It's a comma. That's a little hint for English. For English, when you have a double consonant like puppy, supper, latter, batter, double consonant in the middle of a word, the vowel sound in front is short. Yes, the name of the periodical is the name of the journal. The name. So now we have to capitalize all the main words. That's what I said to show the difference. We do not capitalize all main words in the title of the article, just the first and the first word of the subtitle. But no, for the major words in the actual periodical name, in the actual journal name, yes. Then yes, you have to capitalize all the main words. And then we've got to follow that with the comma, italicize that periodical name, but not the comma after. This is why it is very detailed. We have to be detectives. We have to be very, very pay attention to detail. It's very low context. Low context means it's very specific, and we've got to really follow this guide, these tip sheets. So we'll be sharing these tip sheets with you, and this one is color coded, so this one is nice to follow. And then, so here we go, the name of the periodical in italics, but not this comma, not the comma after the word periodical. Then we've got the volume. What do we do with the volume? It says italicize a volume number. Do not put any space. Do not put a space between the volume and issue, and between the volume number and the parentheses around the issue number. So there's no space there. We know the volume number because, and you made a good guess there, Angie. It was, the volume number was 5. So when we're doing it, we're going to have to put that volume number 5. We're going to have to italicize that number, right? We know the issue number. We put it in brackets. Do not italicize the issue number or parentheses. Follow the parentheses with a comma. Here's the second comma over here, right? Knowing if there's no issue number, that's okay. Just follow the volume number with a comma. So if there's no issue number to put within parentheses, just put the comma. And then we have the page range. Now, we're not going to use the number sign. That number sign is just there to show you, that hashtag sign, number sign, whatever. It's just there to show you it's going to go from this page, such a page, no P or PP, not for journal article. We'll save the letter P and PP for something else when we're citing something else, because you see, this reference way of formatting, the APA format in 7th edition is very specific, because by what you put is telling your readers exactly what you used when you were doing your work and what you actually looked at. If it was a scholarly article, whether it was a chapter in a book, whether it was a website, and so on. And then finally, we have this HTTP. I'm still coming back over here again. Got to move this over. Okay, see? Does the article have a DOI, Digital Object Identifier, which is like a social security number? We know we all have our own social security numbers. Right now, they're saying that you no longer have to change them, that when you get a social security card, now they're going to give you a number for life, right? And so we used to have to change your card every 10 years. But me now, I'm a senior, so I've got my gold card and I don't have to change it ever again. I will use that gold card till the end, until whenever, till kingdom comes. So you've got your DOI number, no period after it. The DOI number or URL. If there's no digital object identifier, which is a specific number that is like a social security number for that particular article. Now here is how to do while we're looking at this. This one is what? A chapter in an edited book. Have you used, you were talking about using textbooks, right, Kelsin? You were talking about using textbooks, and if you want to use a chapter in an edited book, maybe the editors are the ones that put together this book with 6 chapters, and each chapter is written by somebody else. And so you want to do, you just follow the guide, the author, the author's copyright year, title of the book chapter, that is. Then you say in, and then you give the names of the editors, followed by EDS. Now look at the little something that's very curious here, Ricardo. When it's a chapter in an edited book, when you're putting who the editors are, you say in. For once, now you're going to put the Christian initials first before you put the author's name. Okay, so that's, and then you put EDS for eds. If it's only one editor, well, you only put the person's name and you put ED and period. Then the title of the book, capitalize only the first word, and then also capitalize proper nouns, and then you italicize the book title. Now, because this is a book, in the scholarly article, we didn't italicize the title of the article. We only italicized the name of the periodical. Here, we didn't put any italics. Do not italicize the title of the book chapter, but yes, we do italicize the title of the book. Then we put whatever edition. Here, look, yes, you put the PP. Remember I told you it depends on whatever it is you're doing. Here you put your page range. PP, period, and the number to whatever number. Number and a dash or hyphen, and then to another number. Okay? Then you end with a period. You have the page range, see? Include the number in parentheses before the page range. If so, show edition first and volume second, separated by a comma, before the page range. Do not put the period. Okay, so then you put the name of the publisher, period, and then the DOI or URL. So that's chapter in an edited book. We had journal article, a book. There it is, a book, chapter in an edited book. This one doesn't have how to do the website. We can look at some other things there. All right, so let's come out of this now. Okay, screen sharing has, because the window is closed. Okay, let's go back in here. There's our art appreciation article. Do you remember all this information? Do you think we can try on the whiteboard to workshop and do an entry for this one? Do you think you'll remember? Have you written down? I'm wondering how we can do this. On the whiteboard, let's see. We'd have to see if we can do, I don't know if we can cut and paste all of this. I don't think so. I don't think that's gonna work. All right, so that's not happening. Okay, well, if we get answer. Okay, is Hannah still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, who is that? Is that someone joining us, MacBook Pro from last week? Who is that with us this morning? Is it Anita or Betsaida? Who is with us there beside you there, Kelsey? It is Betsaida, I figured. I recognize the, hi Betsaida, when did you join us? And Charles Guerra is with us as well? I'm so happy that you have joined us. Okay, so Charles is with us too. All right. Well, you know, if I might stop during the break and ask you to see if you can come up with your coming up with your citations. In the meantime, then let me go back to my slides. Well, this is what I wanted to do this morning. We kind of pretty much touched on some of those, and there's a website that we want to look and see how we can do a website, because it's taking a bit long to show these the scholarly articles. So it's gone 9 o'clock. So what we can do when we come back in, we look at some of these. Let's give the 5-minute break. We need a 5-minute coffee break. Let us come back, oh, I don't know, 9:10. Shall we do that? Let's come back in at 9:10. We'll resume that. Let's get up and stretch. Okay, we're back. Let's see if I can call up something here for you. Okay. The eager beavers, you're the ones who are going to be doing well. So we were talking a little bit about how to recognize a scholarly article, the parts of the scholarly article. I will invite you to work on that entry and bring it back when we come next week. Next week we have, and try to encourage your friends to come as well. But Said, I'm glad to see that you've rejoined us here this Saturday. I know it's hard to get up on a Saturday morning when you want to rest in, but it's good to be able to become a little bit more familiar with the formatting for APA. You'll be using it in your classes, I'm sure. So I wanted to share also something that was a so we'll have you work on that. The one that I'm curious to show. No. Wasn't that one. Let's see. Okay. Let's see if I can do a bit of screen sharing again here now. All right, screen sharing on British literature. Here we go. All right. So let's see. Ricardo, you're back with us. Oh, there we go. I put it over on the side. Here we go. So what have we got here? Another popular source because of the digital world, this virtual world that we're living in, how to cite a website. How many of you are doing British literature with Miss Katie? Anybody doing British literature survey with Miss Katie this semester? Let's see.
No, ma'am.
Who is that? Sorry.
No, ma'am. I think that's I don't think any of us here are taking that.
Well, you will probably be doing it eventually, but if not, it's just it was just a workshop and show you what the website looks like. So you would use, this is a website that I called up from the University of Chicago. See, and so it's all about, it's their website and gives an overview, and it shows the faculty members and everything there. See, so for British literature. So if you are going to cite the website, you would need this. This is the URL that you would need. So that is shown and other guides. For instance, I'll call up some other guides and then I'll go into a few slides because we have the last 15 minutes of session this morning. So let me minimize that and see if I can find gallery. I only want gallery. Why is it showing? I don't want full view. Exit full view. Okay, here's another one. What's new in the publication manual of the American Psychological Association 7th edition? So this is where you will see what's new. For instance, for your papers, we no longer need the cover page nor a running head for short student papers. So this will tell you what's new. And in other words, line spacing, the basics, right? The basics for your setting up of your page. However, there's certain things that you need to look at. The new guidance, right? For avoiding plagiarism and avoiding self-plagiarism. You can plagiarize your own self if you're not careful. So, this is chapters 9 and 10 work together. So the 7th edition style tells you what to do for first and subsequent citations. See, it tells you how to, and when you have multiple authors, when you have 21 authors, you've got to nail all of them. Include the first 19 authors, insert an ellipsis, but no ampersand, and then put the final author's name. So it's really very, very, very specific as to how to do all of this. So when you have with a DOI, an example with the digital object identifier, and then without the DOI, what you put. And you've got to see what it is that you're actually reporting. So this is another good tool, another good tip sheet. Other reference types, and as I had said earlier, because of the world in which we're living in now, you need to cite TED Talks. And Jane, have you ever listened to a TED Talk in any of your courses? You know what the TED Talks? Ricardo, you know what the TED Talks?
No, miss, I don't know what is that.
Have you looked it up? When I mention anything, take notes and then look it up afterward. Just Google in TED Talks. It's on YouTube. People
I've listened to a lot of TED Talks, but we haven't used any in class.
Oh, we've had them here in Belize as well. We have hosted TED Talks at the University of Belize, and the late Sharon Matola. She died early. The lady, the zoo, they used to call her the zoo lady. Sharon Matola at the Belize Zoo did a TED Talk. So did Josh Arana, the famous drummer from the Carifana Collective. He did a TED Talk talking about his drums and the primero and the segunda. There are people who are experts in their field or who do things in their fields, and they're broadcast, they're recorded, and then they're posted to YouTube. But even if you refer to something of that, you've got to cite it. TV series, webinars, see, YouTube and other streaming videos. Follow my cursor. An album, a song, a podcast. If you cite this recording of this session, last week's Saturday session and this session, then you've got to find how to do that. And then you cite it. Everything must be cited if it's not your original words. So speech, audio recordings, radio interviews, artwork in a museum, clip art. That is very controversial. When you're doing your PowerPoints and you include all sorts of little icons and little pictures, clip art that you just download easily from the internet, you've got to cite it. You give the URL where you got it from. And there is a way to cite that, see? The APA style website contains additional reference examples. So PowerPoint slides. If you cite any of the PowerPoint slides from one of your teachers' lectures or lecture notes, see Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, web pages, news websites. You go to Belize Breaking News, or you go to Love News, or you go to Channel 5 News or Channel 7 News, and you're quoting or citing some information. There is also a way to cite that. So you need to familiarize yourself with what's new. This one is called What's New in APA, because as I've been saying, I started off saying earlier this morning, many things are now just digital. We're no longer holding hard copy books or actual manuals or papers. Some people still do, of course, but many of them, even our books now, are electronic books, right? An e-book. That's another thing we have to learn, how to cite an e-book, an electronic book. So that's just something that I wanted to also share with you again this morning. And then
Dr. Loskot, will you be sharing all of these resources with us?
I can do. Would you like me to send them?
They could be helpful, yeah.
Okay, absolutely. So let's see if we can do one more. I had some other but I think I'll save it for next week. Let me just show this one here on oh, what's happened? I'm only seeing Ricardo. What's happened to everybody else?
You must have me in speaker view, not gallery view.
I did something there. Sorry. I was trying to switch screens again. Oh, sorry. What did I do there, Justin? Oh, expand. Sorry, I goofed. I'm still trying to navigate, learn how to navigate all of this. But I did have another little activity. I had several articles that I wanted to share. There was one other thing there that maybe I can still quickly in the last couple of minutes, but it's not full view. Okay, there we go. But I really thank those of you who have taken the time to give up your Saturday morning to come and learn a little bit more about it. Let's see, there was one I had opened up with Latin. There it is. Let's just look very quickly and see if we can ascertain. This I just typed in. See, this one says Latin in the 21st Century Journal. See? So you get journals. This seems to be a web page because the Journal of Classics Teaching. See, this is the home page for this journal. So there we have it. This journal is an online journal. It was published online by Cambridge University Press. Then we get the full date, May 25th, May 2016, and Jane. But we don't need to put all of that. We only need the year when we're reformatting for the journal article. And you can see some of them. You can download the PDF, saved PDF. You can try to find those that are open access. They're just available there. It gives you an abstract. It gives you some information there. And this is actually, this is not the full journal article. This would be a web page. So you would have to cite this as how you would, and if you want to get the article, then you access the whole article. See, the Journal of Classics Teaching. So there's so many journals that you can access. I just like to see what else I can plan for next time around that might be useful to you. I'd like to have more workshopping, more. I've given you that little assignment for you to come up with the entry for the article on art appreciation. So I'll send that article on art appreciation from the lady in the university in Slovenia with the very difficult, hard to pronounce name. So Charles or Hannah or any of you, are there any special requests for things you would like me to cover in the next session when we meet again next Saturday? Tell your friends to come. Make a cup of coffee and come and sit down with us and have a little bit of a discussion on how to do the formatting. Anything else you'd like me to cover next week, Anne Jane? Can't hear you. Is Saida still there? Who else would like to, any special requests for next Saturday?
Well, for me, I would actually like you would be able to show me how to cite a theology book.
A book? How to do a book?
No, I mean like a theology book, how to cite it.
Yes, a theology book is a book, any book. Okay, let's do that. Let's absolutely do that. I think I had it there. Did I not? Let's see. That's not all that challenging. Gallery. Where is it? I thought I had pulled it up already, but I'll remind you. Let me just how to do, I need to do open it back up again.
Dr. Lescott,
Yes. Are
will
we
you
out of
be
time?
emailing the article to us?
I'll email everything, all that we've covered
Okay.
today.
Okay, thank you.
I send it to Justin, and then Justin can send out in a group. Hopefully, Justin, you can help with that.
Yes, ma'am, I can help with that.
All right, so there it is. I've called it up for Angie. Let me go back in very quickly now because we're almost there. Okay, screen share. One more time. Here it is. How to do the book. See? Oh, what happened? Journal book. There it is. See? There it is. The author, the copyright year, the title of the book. See? And then we did the publisher, the DOI or the URL. This was that multicolored one that had 3. It had how to do the journal article. Here, it had how to do the journal article. We covered that. APA reference quick guide. This was the quick guide. And then we had how to do a book and then a chapter in an edited book. So I may have done the chapter in an edited book and maybe I skipped. I referred to it, but I didn't actually do it. This one doesn't have how to do the website, but it does have these 3. And here it is. How to do a book. This book was a book with 2 authors. But if you have 3 authors, 4 authors, I think we just showed you in the what's new that you have up to 19 authors. You put all the names of all the authors. Yes, I know. But that's why we need to really be very, very careful as to what we are doing. So there it is, Angie. And that one is not difficult at all. Your theology book, you would just go and take the author of the theology book, the year it was published, look inside the page and find where the copyright page is. You take any book. If you take any book, here is a math book, a high school math book. You open it up and it has the copyright right in there. This one is a math book. It says copyright 2020 by Karim Juan. This is a math book used in the high schools here in Belize. I just happen to have it here. So you just find the copyright year, you put that in, and then you follow the title of the book, which letters to capitalize, what edition, and then you put the publisher, and then which ones to italicize. You italicize the title, but we did not italicize the title of a journal article. Remember I spoke about that? That it depends on what you're doing. But okay, so Anjane, you and anything else? Any special requests quickly for next Saturday? If not, I'll probably have some more slides to share and we can workshop some other things. Remember, I've given you a little homework assignment to come up with the journal article entry for that article in art appreciation. So I look forward to bring your friends with you next Saturday morning. Justin, thank you for facilitating. I think it was, interesting. Maybe had a little bit more this time. Well, thank you to everyone.